What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. If you missed it, very early in the morning this morning when the embargo lifted, Evan did have his full review out for the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, it's out on everything. He did review the Switch version, so if you missed that, I would check it out. It's in the card above. He seemed to really like it and only had a few minor issues here and there, but it looks like it was a pretty cool package for $40. Again, that's up in the card. Check it out. I think I did a pretty good job on that review. We have a lot of stuff to get into today. We're going to start with some smaller news like usual. The Mega Man X Legacy Collection that's coming up this July had its file sizes posted. This was on the Japanese eShop. And, well, we had two different ones, of course, since they're technically two different SKUs. And, of course, one should be, even if you buy it physically, one should be a digital download. The other one's going to be physical, as we've seen, or you just buy them both digitally. Slightly larger this time than what we had with just the regular Mega Man collection, the Legacy collection that we just had released. Nope, instead it's going to start with 3 gigabytes for the download of the first one, and then X Legacy Collection 2, that of course has the PS2 games on there, is going to be 6.8 gigabytes. And that's, those are pretty large, but they did of course change up the different, I guess, the engine and everything, so they were a little larger and they're made to support higher resolutions and everything. But there you go. I assume Capcom's going to have to use a 4 gigabyte card, something they avoided with the other ones. But if you do decide to download them, you're going to need about 10 gigabytes of free space. I think it's be worth it though, because it looks like they added actually quite a bit to this collection. And as I told you guys before, I'm very excited for it. Also, I want to direct you guys to another video that I was checking out. It's pretty cool, especially if you're kind of looking into the Switch homebrew scene, I guess the correct way, where you're not pirating everything and trying to get full-blown games working on your Switch without buying them. The homebrew scene is pretty cool because they, of course, are coding up emulators and even moving over old legacy games that really don't sell much at all anymore, at least for the most part. One of the videos I really liked was one by Modern Vintage Gamer, and they actually went over everything, like all the different emulators on the Switch, and with surprising results. Now, this person's also done things like port Postal to the Switch, and they also ported Outrun to the Nintendo Switch. It was really cool to see. I actually like the channel because I have a feeling I actually used some of their work on the original Xbox way back in the day when I had that thing modded up a while ago, like in the early to mid 2000s when we were hacking and modding original Xboxes. He was actually someone who developed some of the emulators and stuff for it. So I would go check him out. A link to that video is down in the description, and the rest of the channel is pretty cool too. It does a lot of, like I said, older hardware and stuff with the Dreamcast going online. It's pretty neat to see. Also, we have to talk about a package in Star Citizen that I think made everyone raise some eyebrows yesterday. Now, this package includes nearly all of the ships. Apparently, it's missing a few of them, but it cost $27,000. That's right, $27,000 for a game that's technically not even out yet. The Legatus pack, hopefully I said that correctly, contains pretty much everything you would need in the game. A ton of ships, 163 extra items like skins, fuel pods, super colliders, service equipment, and you do need to spend $1,000 just to see the option to then buy this package. So I guess it's technically $28,000. Now, they don't sell them as packages, they sell them as pledges and then gift you stuff. But if you're not familiar with Star Citizen, it's been going on for a long time, and they've raised a tremendous amount of money. Last I saw, which I think was at the end of 2017, they had raised $161 million. And honestly, what's really interesting about this, the people who are actually invested in this game don't seem mad at all. They're fine with what's going on, which is really weird. But there you go. I mean, this is a game that's raised so much money that hasn't even come out yet. It's amazing to see. I don't think I get it. I don't know. It's, yeah, $27,000. So the price of a pretty good car in real life gets you all the ships and everything in a game that's not even out yet. All right, now that we have like the smaller stuff out of the way, let's get into some of the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Rare. Of course, Rare is owned by Microsoft. They created Sea of Thieves, but a lot of people know them for the IPs that they did in the past. You know, things they developed, like a Banjo-Kazooie, for example, right? A Perfect Dark, GoldenEye. These are all games a lot of people grew up with and remember fondly because they really did set the bar at the time for awesome platforming or great shooting, multiplayer shooting at the time. So naturally, when people hear about Rare being fine letting other studios use their IPs, well, of course, the internet has minor freakout moments, and this was one of them. Now, this was actually in an interview with IGN, and what was weird to me is this has been around since March, but it really started really building steam yesterday online when everyone started talking about it. And I actually remember this interview back in March. It was posted on IGN, and like, this is what the head of Rare had to say. Rare has this 32-year back catalog of heritage and IP, and while I wouldn't say we were Disney or even Nintendo or Sega or any of the other kind of long-term IP stalwarts in our business, people ask us to use stuff. It's absolutely not out of the realm of possibility, but not only does the why have to be right, the team and the people and who have to be right. Rare is the guardian of Rare's IP. Who knows what the future holds? Now they go on to talk about things like Killer Instinct, of course, which was developed by Iron Galaxies. And then, of course, Project Spark did also use Conquer in their games. So they have lent out their IPs at different times or had other studios create that game around their IP. And what's very interesting about this is there's a game that's kind of been on the shelf for quite a while. Most people know that's Banjo-Kazooie. I think a lot of people would like to see a studio take hold of that and make an awesome game. Even if it's not Rare. Rare is pretty busy right now with Sea of Thieves. I think everyone knows this. People are asking for more content, and they're attempting to deliver that content. I think we're going to find out a little more about it at E3. I think there'll be some kind of update, some kind of really a big fleshed out, detailed trailer or something about some new patch showing up that's going to add a bunch of stuff because it's a games as a service game. But people, of course, would like to see something like a Banjo-Kazooie. Now, people also got way out on the other side and said, oh, maybe they'll lend it out to Nintendo. Listen, they're controlled by Microsoft, right? So Microsoft's going to call the shots. Now, Microsoft, of course, seems to be pretty willing to work with companies like a Nintendo with crossplay and even having Minecraft and Master Chief, by the way, show up on Nintendo systems. So you never know, I guess. I mean, you can never really say never, right? Especially with Microsoft's mindset recently being more about the services, which they are very good at, and less about the games. Now, that can all change after E3 and their presentation. They could show up and knock it out of the park, have a bunch of games and everything, and then Microsoft's right back in it. Or they could struggle and not have the best E3 presentation, and then they're right back where they are now, and then what do you do at that point? It's a little late. So we'll see. Would I like to see a Banjo-Kazooie be recreated? Absolutely. Would I like to see them maybe come to terms with Nintendo to release GoldenEye on their supposed N64 Classic that's coming up? Absolutely. But we'll have to see. I hope things like that, I hope things like a Perfect Dark do get announced by another studio that's working on it, and we just get some of these really awesome IPs from back in the day brought into the modern era. But E3 is less than 2 weeks away now, so we won't have to wait long to hopefully see something from the Rare, back catalog. Next up, let's talk about what I assumed was going to happen. I'm actually surprised it is just now really showing up and it's happening now, and that is, PUBG suing Fortnite. Remember, I talked about this forever ago. I was like, I wonder if PUBG is going to take that shot. Seems like they are. Now, this was reported by the Korea Times, and yeah, they explain how the Korean game developer PUBG, which of course is, as we know, at this point a subsidiary of Bluehole, has filed a copyright violation lawsuit against the US-based Epic Games, and they're going to ask a court to determine whether the latter, the Fortnite, was copied from the former, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And this is so weird because I think most of us understand that PUBG didn't really invent the Battle Royale genre, right? We had H1Z1 a long time ago, and that actually was brought up at one point with H1Z1 developer, and they said, yeah, I don't think there'd be a PUBG without H1Z1 because, it's pretty similar, and they kind of just took that idea and ran with it further, got some good exposure, streamers picked it up, and bam, it was off to the races. And then kind of the same thing happened here, except Fortnite shows up with an even better idea to make it free and actually make it work well. And hey, look, now they're taking off. It just seems to be that PUBG doesn't like that. So they're going to take a shot, something I thought they would have taken, last year at some point when they really started to see this happen. They took some time, and it looks like they're going to take a shot. I don't know what's going to happen here, though, because would they really find them in copyright of some kind when the games don't look that similar, right? Kind of, but Fortnite has more of a cartoony style, and PUBG tries to be more realistic. Fortnite's a more polished product. It's free. I mean, yeah, there's a paid concept to it, but the overall Battle Royale mode is free. I don't know. I don't really think this is going to go very far. I don't think they'll find them in any kind of copyright infringement or anything. It's kind of I think they're going to see it more as a genre rather than stealing an idea. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, at that point, is Call of Duty, the new one coming out, right? The Black Ops 4, is that in violation too? Because they're having a Battle Royale mode? I assume not, but we'll see. Maybe there are enough similarities. You drop in, there's 100 people, and I doubt it. I think it's going to go on business as usual. Let's get thrown out and hey, more Fortnite everywhere like usual. Next up, let's talk about the Pokemon Company and how much money they made this past fiscal year. Now, they did report their fiscal earnings for the previous year that ended February 28th, 2018. And surprise, surprise, it's a lot of money. It's quite a bit, actually. They made a net profit, again, net profit of over $80 million. Is that surprising anyone? Not really, no. Now, this is technically a downturn from the previous fiscal year, which really benefited from the explosion of Pokemon Go. That's when they actually made $145 million. You also remember they released Pokemon Sun and Moon, I believe, and it was just everything was hitting on all cylinders at that point, right? That was it. They were really moving there. And now they can kind of look forward to what we assume to be the Switch release this fiscal year and anything else they come up with. We'll see. I mean, Pokemon Go still is going pretty strong, but the Pokemon Company is working on a lot of stuff right now, and there's a movie and everything they're doing. So we'll see what happens with their next fiscal year, but $80 million of net profit that's pretty good for the Pokemon Company based on their other fiscal years, which are generally around I mean, if we really look at it going way back in the day, we're talking like 12, 16, 10 million, 18 million. Now all of a sudden Pokemon Go, oh, 145 million, oh, $80 million net profit. It's something else with this company. They are really doing well right now, and I think it's only going to continue with things like their Switch version of the Pokemon games, and then of course Pokemon Go, which will continue to evolve, no pun intended, and continue making the money. And our last bit of news, let's talk about Superhot. It was a really cool VR game. That's actually, I think, one of the best instances of VR. It's technically a first-person shooter-style game, but in VR, it's really cool looking. Like HTC Vive, it's insane how it all looks. It's almost like the bullets and everything go through the air. Anyway, it's also out on other platforms as well. Of course, Xbox, I think it was free with Games with Gold pretty recently. And now they have their sights set on the Nintendo Switch. At least that's what it seems to be, since they didn't really try to make it very, I guess, mysterious or anything, or try to hint at it. They just pretty much outright said it, and this was to Destructoid saying, "There's a conflict with me because I'm the guy who will just say everything up front, but the plans are there, and we've done some preliminary work on it. It still has no date or anything, but I think it should happen. The Switch is a cool platform, and it's an innovative platform. Nintendo rediscovered something that was already there. Nintendo is good with their stuff. Superhot would fit well there." Now, I wouldn't consider this a confirmation, obviously. Nothing, they even say a date or anything. They're just like, oh, we're playing around with it. We're trying to get it to work. I think Nintendo would love to see that on there. It's just, that game is just way better in VR, but the fact that it could go to a system like the Switch that technically is portable, so that's one of the reasons a lot of these developers look at the Switch like they do, because it's a chance to get their game into the hands of people who might just prefer portable gaming and they don't really care too much about home consoles or anything, specifically in Japan. But also, of course, the Switch is hot. These developers know that. If they get their game on there, which Superhot should be able to run on there, to be honest. It's not the most graphically intensive game. I think that's one of the reasons it works well in VR, is because a lot of computers can play it pretty well, and it's just a good game to play. And I would like to see it come over. If you check out reviews for it, it's like 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5, 10, 10 out of 10 for some places. So it's pretty cool to see. I'll be curious to see if they have any timetable internally. Like, is it coming out this year? Is it next year? I mean, how far off are we? I would like to see it hopefully by the end of this year, but we'll see what they have for us with Superhot. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is PUBG versus Fortnite. What do you think about that? Are you a Fortnite fan and you don't get it? You think, oh, Fortnite just took it, made it better, right, with PUBG? Or maybe you're on the other side. Maybe you're a PUBG fan and you're like, Fortnite did steal that idea. They should be sued. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Maybe Star Citizen with the 27,000 ship pack. I'm sure that's exciting. The Pokemon Company's profits. Or maybe you want to talk about the possibility of Superhot going to the Nintendo Switch. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.